Hi, welcome back. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at modeling the kitchen and adding detailing. So, I've gone ahead and added the walls to my kitchen and also this window. So I will be adding in this tutorial the benches, the sink, and the cooktop. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is let's go to our 3D view. We'll create a duplicate of this 3D view. So just right click it, duplicate, and let's rename this to open roof. Okay, so what we're going to do is press VV to open up the visibility or graphic overrides, and we're just going to hide the ceiling and hide the roof so that we can see into the building. Oh, and I just realized I need the flooring as well, so let's quickly do that. So just a recap, flooring. Just going to quickly add the flooring here. I'm only going to be doing the kitchen in this tutorial, so I won't be doing the floor for the rest of the rest of the design. So let's do that. Oh, open roof. Here we go. Okay, so now we have the groundwork set for the kitchen. So now let's add in the cabinets. So in your design, it'll usually be clear whether you have overhead cupboards or not. In this design that I'm working on, it doesn't have overhead cupboards, but I will show you how to add them so that you know how to do it for yours. So let's go back to the ground floor. And what we're going to do here is go architecture and component. So the components are, they can include a number of different things. So for this, we're going to be loading a family. Go back and go to casework. And here it has a few folders. So the base cabinets are obviously the benches, and then you have the countertops, and then wall cabinets are the overheads. Okay, so first we'll start with the base cabinets. And let's choose one that would look good. So usually for your kitchen, you'll be using the ones labeled as base cabinets. Later on, when we model the bathroom, we'll be using the vanity cabinets. So yeah, make sure that you use the base cabinets for the kitchen. So let's start with using I like to use these ones here. Okay, so we'll start with the sink unit. So this one is the sink unit because it has a bit of a gap for the sink. So let's open this up first. And if we go to the 3D view or open roof, you can see its orientation as you're going to place it. So press spacebar to rotate it around. And then if we go back to the ground floor, you can line it up. So let's place it right here. Now, we can see from the floor plan that the sink is meant to be a bit wider. So we can adjust this base cabinet, but for your design, you don't have to have the sink be exactly the size in the floor plan. It's very negligible. But if you want to be completely accurate, then similar to how we changed the dimensions for the doors and windows, we can change the dimensions for these sink units, these cabinets as well. So let's go edit type, and you can change the depth, the height, and the width. So we want to change here the width. Let's make this 1,200 millimeters. Okay, there you go. So now the sink unit. Let me just move this one so that I stop getting confused. So I can see a problem here. When I rotated it, it didn't work. So let's rotate it now. Let's go back to the ground floor. Make sure the sink is the cabinet is selected and go rotate. So just pick a direction, and then if we want to flip it, just make it go 180 degrees like that. And now we need to move it so that it's lined up. So use the move tool, click the starting point, and then click the end point, and there we go. So now we have the sink unit like that. All right, now let's add the rest of the cabinets. So again, architecture, component, and then load family. And we'll add, so for the end here, let's use 4 drawers. And we're going to place it, make sure it's rotated properly. And we're going to place it here. And we'll increase the width as well so that it matches the floor plan. Okay, so just double check its orientation. Yep, that looks good. Okay, now let's, to make sure that we get the right width, we can measure this. Okay, 540.5. That's a bit of a weird number. So let's make it around 600. So width 600. And we'll just move it so that it's aligned with the other cabinet. Okay, and there we go. Now let's do the rest. For the corner, there is a corner unit here. So you can use this. However, because we're using a different family here of cabinets, this one may not look exactly the same. So what we're instead going to do is we're just going to add a single drawer, a single door, I mean. So let's find like this one. Yep, single door. And we're going to put it here. So rotate it. And just put it here. And again, we're going to measure this distance. Okay, it's about 680. So to match the other cabinet that we did, let's make this 600. And we'll move it here so that it aligns. And for this remainder section, what we're going to do is we're going to use a filler. So again, load family, and we're going to use the base cabinet filler. Here we go. Rotate it, and you can put it here so that it fills up the gap. Now, if you go to the model, see it looks like that. And we can put another filler on the other side so that it turns the corner. But first, let's do this one. Okay, so for this one, we have this, the cooktop, which also has the oven underneath it. So let's import the base cabinet with a hole, this one. So base cabinet built in. Rotate it and put it in like that. And similar to the sink, let's increase the width here. Let's make this 900. Let's work with multiples of 300. There we go. So now you can see that unit, it has a hole. Now we can fill this. So with this filler, yeah, that's fine. Okay. With this filler, you can actually click on it, and then you see these arrows. You can click it and drag to extend it without having to go into the edit type and manually change the width or edit here. Okay, so let's click on this and create similar. Rotate it, put it here. And again, we can click this and drag it we want it to overlap a little bit because you'll see underneath it needs to overlap so that it fills this gap. Okay, and now finally we want to do the cabinet here. So again, component, load family, let's change it up a little bit. Let's do a let's do sliding drawers. Okay, this works. So let's do that. Again, rotate it with spacebar and click here. Change the width to 600. Now, this one you see it doesn't quite fit. So what we can do instead, let's make this 450. And the rest we can fill with a filler. So let's create similar. So click on it, type CS for create similar, rotate, put it down. And then we can click and drag so that it fills the exact gap. There we go. So that's what our cabinets will look like. Now let's add the bench top. So very similar to the cabinets. Go place component, load family, go back one folder and go to countertops. So for the countertops, you have a lot of options. You have, so let's start with the sink. You have 3 options. You have one, oh sorry, this one you won't have. This one is a custom one that I made. But you'll have this one with a sinkhole and this one with the actual sink as well. So to simplify things, let's just go with the sink. And if you move your mouse around in the 3D view, you can see what it looks like there. Okay, so back to the ground floor. Let's rotate it with spacebar and place it down. Make sure it aligns. You'll notice on the left that there will be a bit of a overhang. That's fine. That's standard for the bench top. So like that. Okay, let's check it in the 3D view. That looks good. Now, for the corner, there will be an L-shaped one like this. Oh, there's actually one with the sink as well, so you could actually use this. Yeah, that's okay. I'll use this one instead then. It looks like it will work better. Okay. See, it looks like that. Rotate it around. Now you'll see that it won't exactly line up, but that's fine because we can change the dimensions of it once we place it down. So let's just start by putting it down in the corner. Now the sink here, we could just we can drag, I think, this arrow, and you can move the sink like that. But first we need to make this end longer. So let's drag it across. Okay, drag this across. And just play around with it until it lines up. There we go. Perfect. Now we can, we can also drag this arrow to drag the end here, line it up with the wall, and there you go. So that's the bench top. And finally, let's add the cooktop. So the cooktop, actually, I would recommend doing in Lumion in the rendering software because Lumion has a better cooktop in its library. But if you want to do it in Revit, it's also possible here. So again, with architecture, component, load family. We'll see if I can find it. Should be somewhere here. Nope. Okay. Okay, it's actually in specialty equipment, domestic, and you have the cooktops here. There's also a dishwasher if you want to add that, and a range hood, which will be useful later on. You could also use this instead of this cabinet section here, but it will be hard for you to make it look the same as the rest of the benchtop, so I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, so let's add this cooktop 4 unit. Go back to the ground floor, and we'll just rotate it and place it down. Okay, that's not quite centered, I think. Oh no, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So that's the kitchen and benchtop. So in terms of the colors of the benchtop and the cabinets, please refer to the practical list. In there, it details what your kitchen should look like. So actually, these cabinets should all be white, and you have a few options for the benchtop, which are outlined in the practical list. So there are a few options that you can choose from there, but the cabinets here should be white. So I'll show you how to do that. So similar to the doors and windows previously, go edit type, and you can see here materials and finishes. You can change the cabinet material, the door drawer material, and the handle material. So let's change both of these to laminate, ivory or matte, and we'll just copy paste this for the door and drawer as well. And for the handle, let's change this to aluminium. Here we go. Click OK. Oh, yep. And apply. So now it should be white. There we go. And we'll do the same for all the different drawers that we use. So paste that. You can just type in aluminium and it should work. There we go. Now, because we use the same filler for both of these sides, changing one of them should change both. So we just need to change one. There you go. As you can see, this one also changed. And finally, these two. Okay. Now, another thing that we could see here is that if you zoom in and look closely, in this example, I've kind of messed up the sink a little bit. You can see that the sink doesn't quite fit into the opening on the benchtop. So to fix that, let's go to the ground floor. And these arrows actually align with the sink opening. So we can just move these arrows a little bit. And now the sink should have a big enough opening so that you can't see the benchtop underneath. Okay, there we go. And another thing is, in my example, the window is too low. So we can change that by just going here to the clicking on it, go to the properties tab, and change the sill height. If we wanted to match exactly this kind of lip on the benchtop, we can measure this height. So to do that, let's go to the ground floor, and I'm going to go to we go to the view tab, create a section here. So let's create a section going across the kitchen like this. And you see the arrow is pointing up. Let's flip it. So click this icon here to flip it. And so when we create the section, like this is, it should be the new section that I made. Yep, section 2. Here we go. So it's created this view where we can just look down without having to hide all these walls that are in the way. So in this section, we can go modify, measure, and we can measure the height here. So this is 101.6, and this window, if we raise it up 101.6, so what's that? 1016.6. No, that's a bit too high. That's okay. Now we can just measure this height here, 15. So we just click move and move it down to there. And now it's perfect. So we go to the open roof. Now the window is exactly at the height of this lip. And now I'll show you how to add the overhead cabinets. Okay, so overheads are very similar to the base cabinets. So component, load family, go back, and go wall cabinets. And here, just choose the ones that are similar to the base cabinet families that you used. So in this example, the upper cabinets are similar rather than these wall cabinets here. Okay, so I'll stick to using these ones. So let's start with this single door. And we're going to put one next to the window here. So if we go to the ground floor, we can see that these upper cabinets, they automatically snap to a wall. You can't actually place them wherever you want. They have to be on a wall. And so we will need to just put one there. And you see that the cabinet, the depth of the cabinet isn't very high. So we can actually change that. So click on it, go edit type, and we can change the depth here. Let's make this 600 to match the other cabinets. Okay. If it's too much, you can change it to maybe 450. Kind of compromise, and that looks good. And I'm going to change the width of it so that it reaches the window. So again, if we go to the section, we can kind of move it around so that it exactly fits. So first I'm going to move it. I'm going to use the move tool actually, instead of just clicking and dragging. And I'm going to move it here. And then I'm going to measure the distance, this distance here. It's 554. Okay, let's make this 600 then, or 450. Okay, I think that looks fine. And we'll continue to do that for the rest, except for this section here. This section here, if you have overhead cabinets, above the cooktop, you'll want to add a range hood. So if we can go back to specialty equipment, domestic, and you can find range hood here. Let's see if there's another one. This one. Let's use this exhaust hood. This one actually matches the shape that iBuild offers. You can see it in the IP Design Practical list. So try to use this one. Exhaust hood wall. Okay, let's open this up. And we're just going to place it directly above the cooktop. Let's see if there's any other sizes. There are. Let's use this 900. There we go. It says that it's not visible in the ground floor. That's okay. Let's check this. Okay, and we can see it in the 3D view. So that's good. So that's the range hood. And we're going to, for your design, you'll need to add upper cabinets on the sides. So filling up these, okay? Just according to your floor plan. So follow the floor plan. For the corner, similarly with the base cabinets, you can use filler walls and make sure that they overlap so that there's no gap. Okay, so that's it for the upper cabinets. Remember to change the material as well. So we want laminate and aluminium handles. There we go. Okay, so let's assume that I finished the upper cabinets. Now, the last thing you need to add to your kitchen is the splashback. So these bench tops already have a bit of a splashback, but we need to make it go up. If you have upper cabinets, then the splashback should go at least up to the height of these cabinets. But if you don't, then it's up to you how high you want the splashback to be. So let's go to the section again. Actually, let's go to section. And what we're going to do is we're going to go modify, and we're going to measure the height above the floor. So this height here. And we want directly vertical. It's 1001.6. Okay. So if we go back to the ground floor, what we're going to do to make the splashback is actually use a wall. So we're going to make a wall. I'm going to go edit type, and let's make a duplicate. So let's call this splashback. And for the thickness, let's say 50 millimeters for now. But actually, before we commit to that, let's measure how thick the splashback is that's already present on the bench top. Okay, so this is only approximately 20 millimeters. Okay, so let's rename this to 20. And if we go structure, change the thickness here to 20, and you can change the material. So let's use tiling here. So if we go tile, let's just use these 15 by 15 tiles. That's fine for now. It's up to you what you use. There's no requirement for what your it didn't work, for what your splashback looks like. I forgot to add it to document materials. Tiles. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to make sure that the base constraint here is the ground floor plus the height that we measured. So I believe it was 101.6. And for the top constraint, we wanted to stop at the heights of the overhead cupboards. So we're going to measure this distance to the ceiling, and it's exactly 1000. Perfect. So go to the wall. Top offset, we want negative 1000. So it wants to go up to the ceiling, minus 1000. And we're just going to draw it on top of this splashback right here. We don't want to draw it over the window, so let's just stop it here. It says that the walls overlap. So if we go to the 3D view, we can see, oh, sorry, this should be 1001, I think. Is that right? Yes, 1001. And you can see that the window here, the outline of it doesn't quite match the 3D model. So what you can do is go to section 2, the section that we made, and just you can drag it here and make sure that they align like that. Okay. And you can repeat this for the rest of the wall. So let's go back to ground floor. You can click on the wall that you made, CS, create similar, and we're going to do the same thing. So notice how it's on the wrong side, press spacebar to flip it, and we're going to move it across like that. Okay, again, it overlaps with the window. So we're just going to go to the section, drag it across. It's not quite lined up. There we go. And drag it here as well, so it lines up with the wall. And do the same for this side. So CS, create similar. And we're just going to draw the wall all the way to the end. Okay, it says they overlap, but that's okay. So that's your splashback. Let's increase the height of this a little bit. Top offset, let's make this... actually, no, that's fine. Let's leave it like that. Okay, so that's the kitchen. We can, for the oven, so that you have two options for this. There isn't a good oven in the Revit library. You can try to find one, but there's not really a good one. So what you can do instead is you can search online for an oven model. There are many websites. If you just search through Google, Revit models oven, you'll find plenty. Or you can just leave it empty and you can fill it in Lumion. There are ovens in Lumion that you can use. Okay, so let's just leave the kitchen like that. That's basically complete. In the next tutorial, I'll be going over the bathroom detailing. So stay tuned.